countdown. We are now recording, and the first thing we're going to record is the syllabus. Okay. Now, this computer is a tablet PC. Have y'all ever used these ionizing pens when you sign out at Home Depot or somewhere? Notice how great they write? Okay, that's what you got to look forward to, okay? And this does allow me to write on the screen, so I record, and today it's mostly going to be yakking. I'm sorry about that. We'll talk about the syllabus. If we have time, we'll talk about the research paper. If we have time, I'll go over my locator card as best I know it now. Our schedules are still in flux right now. And then if there's time, we'll talk about safety. So it's mostly yakking today and not much math. Sorry about that. But hopefully from now on we will get to that. But anyway, everything that's projected on the board and everything I say is recorded in sync. And then once class is over with, I upload it to YouTube. And then once it's in YouTube, then I will put it in a playlist and you'll be able to link that through Blackboard. Okay. Now, that's not set up in Blackboard yet because I wasn't even sure. In fact, yesterday, I think I said this, they actually canceled this class. And I opened it back up because I knew those two students from the evening classes I had promised I would offer it for them. And if y'all could take it on the Birmingham campus, I would still do a special, what do they call it, independent study with those two students. So, but since you need it now, I take it, right? Then we will go on and have class. And then what we do in class, that's what they'll see on YouTube. All right, so that said, we are recording. And this is not your syllabus, okay? This was the syllabus for last fall. So very little has changed except for my office hours, and I'll explain that in a minute. But the rest, and then there may be a few other things, okay? Now they said we were supposed to use a new logo, but this is the old one. They said it's supposed to say Alabama Community College System, which it says here, but it's not supposed to say Alabama Department of Post-Secondary, which it does say there, but this is what we have. This is what they told us to use. So anyway, maybe that will change in time, but not yet. Okay. And this isn't fall 2017. It's spring 2018. Now, the mini-term 1 is there because my schedule, office hours will change slightly when we go to the mini-term 2. And I'll explain that in a minute. Okay, it is Math 113, Pre-Calculus Trigonometry, 3-credit hour course. We only meet in class for about 2.5 hours, hour 15 minutes, 2 days a week. That allows you 15 minutes to get to the next class. Okay, we're Tuesday, Thursday, 9:30, 10:45, that's the same. Building A, that's the same. Bassman Campus, Building A, 255. All that's the same. That's the only minor change for now, but we'll make those later, okay? My name is Charles Fowler. That hasn't changed. My contact policy is still pretty much as is written here. I have 2 offices, one on this campus, and that's in this building, room 265. And how you get there from here, okay? Here is where we are in this corner classroom here. If you go out the door here, hang a left, go down that little half flight of stairs there, and go almost to the end of the hall. Don't run into the wall. Before you hit the wall, there's a stairwell to the left, but just before the stairwell is my office. That's 265 right there. In between the mechanical room and the stairwell, that door right there, 265 is mine. The locator card from last term is still there. I'll get it changed. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. So not far from here, but it's not within earshot. That's not my office there, by the way. Used to be one time, many years ago, that was my office. That's why I started teaching in this room. That office doesn't have a room associated with it. Okay. So that's my office. Now, the Birmingham campus, and I'm there most Fridays. Are y'all familiar with Birmingham campus? Okay, you know the academic building, the B building, the long building at the back part of the quad? Okay, the end toward the gym and the tennis courts and the baseball field, that end of the B building, you know, when you come in the door from the outside there, you immediately either go down half a flight or up half a flight. If you go up half a flight, which is the main floor, okay, when you step on that top step, there's a door immediately on your right. That's, where is it right there? B122. Now, it says Dr. Carl Pruitt, Miss Rose Saxton. That's the suite. Miss Saxon's desk is when you walk in there, her desk is right there. Dr. Pruitt's office is a big corner office there. Behind Miss Saxon's desk is a copy room. It has a little round table in it. That's where I am on Fridays. Okay. So most Fridays, not every Friday, but most Fridays I'm there. Okay. So that's where I am on Fridays. My phone on this campus is 929-3449 here on the Bessemer campus. Now, let me tell you something about my phone. The last time I talked with someone about it, they said my voicemail wasn't working, so that they couldn't leave a message. So don't try to leave me a message. So as soon as I show you, only call during office hours, because if you call when I'm in class, I'm not going to hear the phone ring. If the voicemail isn't working, I'll never hear the message. Okay. Now the Birmingham campus, that's the office number, 929-6409. Don't leave a message there either, because that's not my office. Monday through Thursday, one of the grant coordinators uses that office. She's a part-time employee, but she doesn't come in on Fridays, so that's why I use the office on Fridays. That's her phone number, and if you leave a message, she'll get the message, but I won't. Okay, and she doesn't. Yeah. So don't leave a message on that either. So leave messages only during my office hours. Now here's my email: cfowler@bostonstate.edu. And this is the email for most of the employees of the college. First initial, last name @bostonstate.edu. There are a few exceptions. For instance, there's 2 S. Williamses on campus, at least 2. And one in financial aid here, because S. Williams was already given to somebody else. She's S.D. Williams, her first and middle initials. That happens a few other times. Miss Martin down the hall, there's already a C. Martin, so she's a C.M. Martin or something like that. She has a middle initial in it. There are a few people who chose to have special names, like Mr. King, who teaches English and speech. He goes by Kelvin King rather than K. King. So there's a few people who do have others. Most of us are first initial, last name, also say that. Okay. Yeah. Now, these office hours are wrong. I can tell you that. This is for last fall. Let me tell you what they are, at least to the best of my knowledge. Yesterday was a horrendous day for me. They went in and changed my whole department schedule around like crazy. And they canceled this class, and they gave me a developmental math class Monday, Wednesday afternoon. So they took it away from somebody else, and then they gave her somebody else's class, and they took that. Yeah. So it was a fruit basket turnover. Wound up giving me a double overload, which I do not need to teach this term. And so if I can get those things changed back, then I'll tell you what my office hours are with and without that change. Okay. Now, Monday, Wednesday, in the fall, I had an 8 o'clock class that made. This term, it did not make. So from 7:45 until 9:30 on Monday and Wednesday, I have office hours. Now, my 9:30 class did make, and it's a 4-hour course. It's a calculus course, so it's 9:30 until 11:10. So I'm back in the office by 11:15. And okay, so Monday, Wednesday, office hours 7:45 to 9:30, 11:15 until either 2 o'clock if I keep the developmental class. If I lose the developmental class, it'll go till 5:15, from 11:15 till 5:15. But if I have the developmental class, it'll be 11:15 till 2, and then 3:15 to 5:15. So the front and back of that is just whether 2 to 3:15 I have the class or not. Okay, so that's my Monday, Wednesday, and I'm not sure of that until I figure out what else is happening. Tuesday, Thursday. Now this is wrong too. My 8 o'clock class made. This class is making. So at 10:45, I did have 11 o'clock class in the fall. It didn't make this time. So from 11 o'clock, or 10:45 actually, until 12:30. Okay, this says 1:15, and there's a different reason for that. So from 10:45 until 12:30. Now, in that, I'll probably be eating lunch from 11:30 to 12:30. Okay, but I most of the time bring my lunch and just almost always eat in the office. So you can come see me while I'm at lunch. That's fine too. So but that's the only time I have on Tuesday, Thursday, 10:45 until 12:30. Now, first mini term, I have a physical science class that starts at 12:30. Today I do. And it's a mini term, so it's 12:30 to 3, but it's physical science, so it has a lab. So it'll also, the lab will be 3 to 5. So from 12:30 until 5 o'clock, I'm in the physical science class, okay, every day. Now when second mini term gets here, it will be 1:15. So then it'll be 10:45 to 1:15, and then my class will go from 1:15 until 5:45. Now the reason for that, the second mini term, that physical science class, the automotive students need that. And the automotive students are on what they call a co-op program. They're here for half a term, and then they're at work for half a term. That's the first year students. The second year students are at work the first half, and in class the second half. That's the second half that I've got here, where their class schedule goes until I have to check on this. That goes until 1, so I can't start with physical science until 1:15 because they're required to take the course. Now, if I mess that up, I may have to change that, but I think that's correct. No, first minute, yeah. I'm pretty sure that's going to be true for second minute. And then on Fridays, I don't have any classes scheduled, so I'm usually there 7:45 till 11:45. Though most days I'm there after 11:45, but officially 4 hours there. Now, let me say this too. They love calling meetings on Friday. So if I know one's coming up, I'll let you know. Don't call between blur and blur because they're going to be in a meeting. But I'll try to, and usually they don't call them early. So 7:45 until usually 9 or something, I'm almost always there. And then sometimes the meetings are later. But sometimes I have the full 4 hours. Okay. I'll go on and say it now because we're going to have to say it later anyway. I have a mild form of leukemia, so I have to have chemo every 8 weeks. So when I do have it, I schedule it for Friday because it won't interfere with any classes. So I had the last one, the first Friday, let's see. Seems like it was fairly recent. I think the first Friday in January, so I won't have another one until either late February or early March. So, but I'll let you know in plenty of time. It just affects the Friday. However, there's something else that affects even more, but I'll get to that in a minute. Course description. And by the way, I didn't write this. No one here at the college wrote it. This was done by a committee of the 2-year college system and the public 4-year colleges and universities in Alabama. They said if we do this, they give you credit for it. Okay? So here's what they came up with. This course includes the study of trigonometric, and they call those circular functions, and inverse trigonometric functions. It includes extensive work with trigonometric identities and trigonometric equations. The course also covers vectors, complex numbers, De Moivre's theorem, and polar coordinates. Additional topics may include, but won't, conic sections, sequences, and using matrices. I never have time to get that far. In fact, we sometimes don't get all this done, but we'll try. We got 3 chapters to cover. The first one, chapter 4, is a long chapter, 8 sections. So that's going to take a while to get through. And then we'll do as best we can with the next 2 chapters, which are 5 sections each. So very little time to get through 9 sections. So, and it's not required in the course anyway. So prerequisites, basically it gets down to if you scored for Math 113, you're in the right place. Or if you made a C or higher in Math 112, pre-calculus algebra, you're in the right place. Okay, I know you did, you were in my class, okay? We all in Dr. Thomas? Who? Oh, so you're from the Birmingham campus, okay, so you all are familiar with that. Okay, yeah, so y'all are well prepared. I know she teaches very thoroughly. Okay, and then aren't any code references. The textbook is the same book you use for pre-calculus algebra. So hopefully you kept your tabs, or if not, you can get it back. Okay. So And by the way, last fall, the trig section, because they had their pre-calculus algebra the previous term, they had the old edition. So this needs to be changed. It's now 10th edition, which is what y'all used last term, unless you took it earlier. Larson is the instructor, is the author. So Brooks Cole Singate Learning Publisher. This is 2018, is the 10th edition. Graphing or scientific calculators are not required, but they certainly are useful in the class. The reason I say that they're required when I do your book orders, that way if you have Pell Grant money left over and want to spend it on it, the bookstore you can use Pell money for that. If you want to buy them at Office Depot or Walmart or someone, yeah, you can't use Pell money there, but they're cheaper, but you can do that. But that you can get by with just a scientific calculator if you want to. Graphing calculators, the second half of the 4th chapter does a lot of graphing, and we'll do it by hand, and you can certainly do it by hand. But if you had a graphing calculator, you can see if your hand drawing was looking right, But you don't need it. If you want to have it, you can. Paper is required. We will, except for today, I'll be doing stuff on my screen, and so hopefully you'll be doing it too. Pencils, I didn't write this syllabus. Someone who really was picky about that wrote pencils. I'll make a confession to you. When I do math, I tend to make mistakes. Y'all going to see that firsthand real soon, okay? But if you like using ink, fine with me. I don't care, okay? But when I do math, I try to use pencils so I can erase and it doesn't look as bad. Once you see me write, you see why I don't want it to look any worse than it has to be. Okay, graphing paper, again, certain of the sections, especially the second half of the 4th chapter, does a lot of graphing. For that test, I will provide graphing paper if you want it. If you have your own that you prefer to use, you certainly are okay there. And then to do homework and stuff, if you want to use graphing paper, you will need to supply that. I can if you need it. Now this paragraph on Blackboard, they say don't touch it. This is required. You can't mess with it. They said that years ago and haven't updated it. That's the problem. All of us that community college students must be trained in Blackboard and use Blackboard daily to gain access to vital course information such as the syllabus. And you will be reading the syllabus every day, won't you? Yes, of course you will. Saturdays and Sundays included. Yes, of course. Okay, I'm making fun of it. Okay. It will be there. It's not there yet, but it will be there. I've got to correct it first, and then I'll put it there. I'm not going to have any time today to. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow. Okay? But if not, maybe Friday or the weekend. But sometime or another, I'll try to get it updated for you. Because I wasn't even sure they were going to let it run. Like if all three of you could have gone to Miss Martin's class on the Birmingham campus, then I would have just done an independent study, and I wouldn't have had to do all this. But yeah, but I don't mind. Okay. Okay. Vital course information such as the syllabus. Also a handout. But guess what? If I have a handout for you, I'm going to hand it out. Okay, so I don't usually put handouts on Blackboard. I probably don't use it properly. But PowerPoint shows I will put those there. In fact, they'll be there twice. Okay? When I do get a chance to get Blackboard done, I will put the static version. Every section that we cover has a whole PowerPoint program on it. So I'll put all, 18 of those sections out there. Whether we get to them or not, they will be there in static form. Okay, where do I put it? I put it under content. Now, I'm sure y'all are familiar with Blackboard, but I don't see the student side, so I may have some things wrong. But I think when you get to the home page in Blackboard for this course, you'll see a series of tabs over here. In the instructor version, they're blue. I don't know what they are on the student version. About the second or third one says content. That's where I'll put the syllabus once I get it corrected. That's where I'll put your research paper instructions once I get, well, they're corrected now. I just don't have them put up there yet. That's where I'll put my locator card once I know for sure whether I'm teaching that other course or not. and that's where I'll put all the PowerPoints. I'll also put websites that either I found that I thought might be useful, or that students have told me they found and found them useful. I'll put those there. They're just links to websites, okay? And then I'll put the link to the YouTube videos. So it's not there yet, but it will be hopefully within a week. Hopefully less than that, but within a week. Okay, so that will be there. So why did I say they'll be there twice? They'll be there in static version, but I teach from PowerPoint. So every class that we have, and I'm working problems on it and stuff, and by the way, everything that's projected on the board, whether I write it on the screen here or it's on something like this, that's saved with my voice, synced. So all the PowerPoint shows in dynamic form will be under YouTube videos through Blackboard, but the static form will just be there under content. Both of them are under content, but one is just a static, the other in the PowerPoint and the YouTube video. So they'll be there twice. Activities. Sometimes the school posts activities on Blackboard. I can't imagine I'm going to be posting any activities there, but it's assignments. Like I said, I will have the paper assignment, research paper assignment there as soon as I can get it done. It's finished now, I just don't have it loaded on Blackboard. Now most of the other assignments, like homework assignments and things like that, when we have task quiz, that kind of stuff, you'll hear those on the YouTube videos, because at the end of every class, say we're in 4.1 and we only get about halfway through 4.1, well, I'll go turn back to the 4.1 exercise and say, okay, you can do the odd numbers, this to this to this to this, and that's what we covered in class today, do those. When we finish the section, then I'll go through all the homework problems there, so they'll be there too. So at the end of every class will be a homework assignment, and sometimes in the middle if we finish the section in the middle of the class. So those will all be there, but they won't be typed out, these are your assignments, okay? I'm just too lazy for that. All right, announcements. Hopefully I won't have many. I'll give you one right now, okay? I already told you that I have leukemia, and I have treatments every 8 weeks. But I also have to see my hematologist sometime periodically, usually not even as much as every 8 weeks, once a quarter or something like that. Unfortunately, my next appointment is next Tuesday at 8 o'clock, okay? Which means I have to be there at 7 to do the lab work. And then if he sees me at 8, there's a chance I'll be through by 8:30, and I'll be driving back here to campus. Whether I'll be here, if I get away by 8:30 or even 9 o'clock, I will be here by 9:30. But if something drags and goes late or something, I may be a little late, but I will be here, knock on wood. Now, if I find out I'm not, that he's gotten hung up with other appointments or something, but usually 8 o'clock, I'm one of the early ones, and he can get through me pretty easily. I'm hoping that's going to be the case, but if I find out I'm not going to be able to be here, I will call somebody and they'll come let you know either that I won't be here before class is over or what time I will be here. So next Tuesday, I may be a little late, but hopefully I'll be here very close to 9:30. I've already had to cancel my 8 o'clock class because no way I'll be here for that one, but hopefully I'll be here for that one. Okay, so I'm making the announcement now. It's going to be on this, so I'll make it again on Thursday. Grades are on Blackboard, and usually early in the term, I'm pretty good about getting, knock on wood, the grading done and get on Blackboard pretty quickly. However, once we start registering for either summer and or fall term, which we do in the spring, that really, the last time I looked, I had about 450 students that I was listed as their advisors. Now, not all of them come see me, okay? Most of them do it online and stuff like that, thank goodness. But also there's some that do come see me and some that are not listed as the advisors come see me. They're advisors on the Birmingham campus, or they can't find them, or they have a problem. So I wind up advising people that are not listed. So once we are doing that, sometimes I don't get the grades done right away. Like for Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have very little time to grade. Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, yes, I have time to grade then if I'm not advising students. But usually then, even then, by Fridays or on the weekend, I I do not like this next sentence at all. Failure to use Blackboard could severely damage your ability to pass the course. It's such a negative sentence. If they allowed me to change it, I would say the proper use of Blackboard could greatly enhance your ability to do well in the course. It's much more positive, I think, closer to reality. Now, some teachers may teach it that way, that you can't possibly pass without it. I don't know. I don't teach it that way. Now, the next sentence is crazy, okay? We haven't had a schedule book in years, okay? So see the schedule book, but they don't let us take it out, okay? If you need additional training in Blackboard, see me. If I can't help, I'll find someone who can. But y'all have been around long enough, I bet you have. Now, I don't like this sentence either. Students should always check the Blackboard announcement page prior to coming to class. Why would they have that in there? In case the class was canceled. Daniel, you were in my class last time. How frequently did I cancel classes? Not much. As in almost never, except for stuff like an appointment or something like that. And I'll let you know in plenty of time. If it's something emergency comes up, like an accident on the expressway that I'm not going to get here, hopefully not my accident, but something else. Surely I'll be here by 9:30 because I'm leaving home by 7 o'clock or 7:15. Surely we'll be here for this class. 8 o'clock class, maybe not, but or if I get deathly ill some morning, the odds are I'm not going to feel like, oh, let me get this on Blackboard. I feel terrible, you know. I'll just call somebody and they'll write something on the board. Okay, so I don't just arbitrarily cancel class. In fact, I don't know, maybe last term I didn't, but sometimes I come in coughing and sneezing and shouldn't be here, but I hate missing class. Okay. Student learning outcomes, the SLOs for the class. Students will identify trigonometric functions and relations using the unit circle. That's kind of the first half of chapter 4. We will identify trigonometric functions and use trigonometric laws using the trigonometry of right triangles. That's kind of the second half of chapter 4. We will analyze, not quite half, but that's what they cover second. Analyze trigonometric identities. That's chapter 5. Solve trigonometric equations using inverse trigonometric functions. That's kind of 4 and 5. Plot complex numbers using trigonometric principles and De Moivre's theorem. That's mostly chapter 6, or parts of chapter 6, and using polar coordinates to operate with vectors. That's the rest of chapter 6. You will write a library or internet research or applications paper on any topic of your choice in trigonometry. That's the research and application paper. And then we'll have a comprehensive final exam. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Now let me say this about this. Notice here it says chapter 4 test, plural. That's a typo? No. Chapter 4 is a very long chapter, 8 sections. So what I do, I give you a test at the end of section 4.4, and then another one at the end of 4.8. And they'll be separate. It's not cumulative over chapter 4. It's the first half, the second half. Okay. Same with 5 and 6. Now, the comprehensive final exam, and this happens more often than not, so the odds are it's going to happen. We'll probably still be in chapter 6 when the end of the chapter comes, end of the term comes. So rather than throwing a test on the last day and then doing another one in final exams, I'll just make your final exam in 2 parts. Okay. First part will be a short chapter 6 test. Second part will be a short comprehensive part. Okay. So that's generally how things work out there. Okay. And the following is and I didn't write this. I would have left out that first thing, but whoever wrote it, I left it in there. How I do your evaluation and assessment. I'm trying. Always happens. All right, happens too frequently after that. Okay. Research application paper is required. That's not optional. Is required for the class. It will count as a test that cannot be dropped. It is required. Then we'll give a test at the midpoint of chapter 4 and at the end of each chapter, 4, 5, and 6. So there's 4 chapter tests, you might say, only 3 chapters before chapter tests. The lowest chapter test may be dropped if that helps your grade. Now, you might say, well, yeah, surely it would help. Well, if you don't turn in a research paper, that's a big fat zero. You're going to need every test score you can to pull that up as much as you can. So don't let that happen. You know, make it so that you'll, or if you do really poorly on that, you might need, and you do well on your test, they may all pull up that score. So I do whatever helps you best. Okay? The paper will be averaged with the remaining tests and the comprehensive final exam to give the final average for the course. The comprehensive final exam cannot be dropped, and it will count as a single test score because we'll probably have, I'll make it short because I guess we need to talk about this now. I'm trying to think of the best time to do it. I was going to do it a little bit later, but let's talk about it now. This is a very small class, okay? Would you rather have take-home test or in-class test? Any preference? No. Nobody has a preference.
I'm good with either way.
What's that?
I'm good either way.
Okay. Well, boy, y'all usually take-home is what I hear. Because with small classes like this, and my tests are fairly comprehensive, and I hate for the time to be a problem, I would sort of like to do take-homes. So you're okay with it? Okay, you aren't going to throw stones at me. Okay, all right. So let's do take-home tests. And because of that, I won't give a quiz midway through. In Math 112, I gave quiz midway through, and then the test was sit down in class, because they're usually big classes then. But since, well, I have, so we'll just have the test. Okay. And even the final exam. And therefore, that last day of class, I will give you two tests, the Chapter 6 test and the comprehensive. And you can turn them in as you finish them or both at once, whenever, but I try to make those shorter. The first tests are pretty long, really comprehensive. Okay, those last two that you only have a week to do, I try to keep them. You have two tests to do. I try to keep them pretty short and hopefully sweet. Okay. So the final exam cannot be dropped. So let's not even think about this. Oh, I've made A's on my chapter test. Can I exempt the final? No. Okay. That cannot be dropped. Okay. Because that's a measure of the total student learning outcomes. Okay. So, and it's easy. Generally a pretty easy test. And most of the time it's going to have your average. So once I get those averages, 90s are A's, 80s are B's, 70s are C's, don't even think about going down here. Okay. So, but 60s are D's and 50s or whatever. Attendance. Students are expected to attend all the classes for which you're registered. Are not able to attend class regularly, regardless of the reason. I mean, I have students always talking, well, this was an excused absence. You know, I have a doctor's excuse. Well, fine, but the thing is, you miss class, okay? And if that missing class frequently, you're probably not going to get the material. And if you don't get material, you're not going to do that well on the test. So if you're not going to be able to be here, those two students are listing it, you know, in the evening side, I understand you can't be here. But if you can't follow what we're doing on, then please consider withdrawing rather than getting a D or an F. I don't know if y'all are on financial aid or not, and it doesn't matter, but a D will not transfer. A D, you can't graduate with a D. If you have a D, you have to retake the course. And certainly if you have an F, you retake the course. If you withdraw, you have to retake the course, okay? A D gives you 1 quality point, so the odds are that's going to pull down your grade point average. An F is 0 quality points, that's definitely going to pull down your grade point average. A W doesn't hurt your grade point at all, okay? At all. So even if you're on financial aid, financial aid will usually pay for 1 retake. So if you make a D, F, or withdrawal, they'll pay for the second time. But if then you DF or withdraw the second time, they won't pay for the third. So it says here, withdrawal can affect eligibility for federal financial aid. Well, guess what? The D of the F is going to affect it the same way, financial aid. You've got to repeat the course, and whether they pay for it or not, you got to repeat it. So guess what? The W keeps from hurting your grade point average, the D or F hurt your grade point average. So guess what? Go with the W. Okay. Now, if you have a C and wanted an A or a B, that's your choice, okay? That could affect your financial thing. I'm not going to mess with that. That's your choice. But these or else, I see no reason not to withdraw, okay? But because of that, withdrawal from a class could prohibit. I don't think any of you are nursing allied health, so before withdrawing, see your advisor or financial aid office, if that's not. If not, don't worry about it. But come to class, okay? You get more information when you're, even though I record everything, you're able to listen to it, that kind of stuff, guess what? You can't ask the YouTube video a question, or they're not going to answer anyway. You can yell at it, but you can't get an answer, okay? So makeup work. Tests are due 1 week after they're assigned, but I'm pretty much a pushover for that. Like I said, some of my tests are pretty thorough, and so if you need more time, that's fine, okay? But what I don't want you to have is that first test out when I'm giving out the second test. Because guess what? I can't return anybody's test to them until I get them all in. Because otherwise the correct answers are floating out there, okay? And so I won't do that. I'll let you see your score while we're waiting for the other people to turn them in, you know, but I can't return them to you until I get them all in. And it's not a good idea to turn it in the day that they're giving out the next test, because guess what? You don't get to see if you miss something on the first test that's going to impact what you do on the second test. You won't get to understand that and realize it. So please try to get it done within a week if you can, but as soon thereafter if you can. Okay? How you may schedule tests when they're take home, I don't know, but then the student has 1 week, same type deal. Now lateness, all classes begin promptly at the scheduled time, and because we have I have an 8 o'clock class, I'm usually in here, set up, ready to go at 9:30. So I'll try to start at that. Now I understand that some of you are coming from the Birmingham campus or something like that. You may be a little late. That's fine. I'm recording everything, so you'll be able to pick that up. But try to be here on time and try to. Now next Tuesday, I may be a little late, but hopefully not on wood. I will be here. If I know I can't be here, I will call somebody and they'll come let you know. Okay. Now, statement on discrimination and harassment. This is on every syllabus, so I'm sure you've seen it over and over and over again, so I won't go over it in great detail. I'll just point out a couple of things. Any practice or behavior that constitutes harassment is a violation of State Board of Education policy and will not be tolerated. Okay? Last sentence here. Harassment of any nature is never tolerated. Get the idea? Okay. And frankly, this is, I think, my 21st year of teaching almost in this room, okay? I've taught in some other rooms before when I've had bigger classes, but most of the time I've been here, and so far I really have seen almost nothing that I would say classifies as discrimination or harassment. Now, that's not saying it may not have happened, but generally I don't think it has, but well, guess what? Most people are not going to do it in front of me anyway, okay? I'm too big, mean, and ugly to be uniform to think about doing that. But they may do it in front of you. So if you see or suspect anything like this that falls in this, I count bullying, harassment, discrimination, any of that kind of stuff, please let somebody know. Let me know. We want to deal with it quickly, fairly, but we don't want it happening or running amok. Now, the closest thing I could come, and it really isn't discrimination or harassment, just stupidity. It was one of the first 2 or 3 years I was teaching here, and we were at Western State Technical College then. And we had them automotive programs like we have now, and a lot of those guys in that program are fresh out of high school. Not all, but a lot of them are. It's not all guys, occasionally girls too, but mostly guys, and most of them are really good students. But occasionally we get some really immature kid who I'm not sure how they got out of high school. And we had one of those in one of my classes the first year, 2 or 3 years I was here. And one day at lunch, I didn't see it, but I heard about it. Next time we had class, he wasn't here. He said, "Oh, he's not going to be back." I said, "Why?" And they said, "Well, at lunch the other day, he just decided to walk across people's cars in the parking lot. And somebody saw him, They jerked him off of the cars into the dean's office. He was there a few minutes and off campus in a few more minutes. Never to be seen again. Just total stupid. Walking on the cars. I mean, they're parked close together. You're just jumping from car to car. Just total immaturity. So he was out of here in no time. Now, we don't do everything that quickly, but if there is something going on, we want to know about it and we want to deal with it. Nip it in the proverbial bud, and because we don't want it happening here. All right, let's move on to Americans with Disabilities, which you'll see on every syllabus as well. Now, I don't know if I said it yet. I just talked this morning and I said it several times then. I'm hard of hearing, so if I ask you something again, it's not I'm being obtuse or obnoxious, though I may be, but it's just that I can't hear, okay? So I'm a little sensitive toward disabilities, so we really want everyone to succeed. So if you do have anything, vision, hearing, AD, whatever those are, all those letters are, or dyslexia, or any of those kinds of things, please let somebody know. And I'm not the best person to let know. On this campus, we have Dr. Renee Herndon. She's head of the Office of Disability Services. She's head of counseling here. There's her phone number. Her office is on this campus, in this building. Mrs. Janine McCoy-Jones is on the Birmingham campus, and we'll talk about where. And there's her number, okay? Or you can go to the website and request a meeting online, and here's how you do that. But the thing is, it's your responsibility to let us know that you have a disability. We can't guess. If I assume, because I see you got your squinting, that you have a vision problem, what if you don't? Maybe your eyes are just funky, you know? If I assume that, then I've just discriminated against you in a really mild sense, but I have. So I can't do that, you know. You have to let us know and keep everything legal. These gals are professional at it. They know exactly what you need. Meet with them and do it. Here's the ADA office location on this campus, this building, down on the first floor. Now, y'all are familiar with this building too? Not as much. Okay. Did you come in the back side of the building where the student services entrance is? The big sort of curved desk there? And you came around the right-hand side to get here? Okay. If you went around the left-hand side, one way goes to the cafeteria, but you kept going. There's a very short hallway there. Right back there is a testing room. Take a left before you get to the testing room. That's Miss Herndon's, Dr. Herndon's office. So all you have to do is go to that admissions desk, the information desk, just ask for Dr. Herndon or the ADA counselor. She's just right around the corner. They'll call her, she'll come right out and see you, okay? Or you walk around the rooms. On the Birmingham campus, the Leon Kennedy building, y'all know that one, right? Where the cafeteria and the police are. That's on the first floor. On the second floor is where this is. It's the Space Center. It's where Mrs. McCoy-Jones is located. So there is the ADA there. Now, college calendar, this is also called the academic calendar. It's on the website. It's on Boston State website. And those blue tabs at the top, it's about the middle, it says academic calendar. You can see it there, okay? So I didn't reproduce it here. Now, that's it. Any questions on the syllabus? I will make the changes and I will publish it on Blackboard. Once I do, then you can go to this last page of the, let's see if, either way. The last page is this, and what you can do is, once you've read it, if you have any questions, ask me. Once all those questions are cleared, you can either print this page and sign your name and the date, or you can actually type it in and email it to me. But once it's there, and I'll let you know when I've got it complete. Oh, whoops. This is not English 093. I don't know how that came in here. Let me go and make that change right now. Okay. Why did that not capitalize? Well, I think I know what happened. Oops. Goodness gracious, this thing is squirrely. Word is doing some strange things here. Okay. There, we got it. Okay. So, any questions on it now? All right. Let's get out of that, and I will save it. That one little change I made, because I don't want that to say English 093. I don't know how that got there. Okay, let's go now to, where is my research paper thing? Yuck. That's not it. Okay, I'll go there. I had it up and did it in my last, oh, I didn't get to it in my last class, but it disappeared. Okay, these are corrected research paper instructions. This is correct. Nothing to change here. You get to choose your topic. Any topic within the scope of the course has anything to do with trigonometry, fantastic. It can be a person. We already seen a few people's names. The Morvary was one. Who in the world was he? How did he come up? What did he contribute? Or a theory. We mentioned any, but we'll run into some. Any theory would work. A phenomenon that is explained by trigonometry. Well, guess who developed the first trig tables and things like this? Astronomers who were studying the movement of planets and stars and things like this. They were tracking things, and they dealt with angles. So they came up with what was the characteristics of these angles, and that's where they came up with these ratios, these relationships. So if astronomical phenomena are an interest of yours, you can write on those and how. An application. Now, there's several types of applications, but in this class in particular, I remember one term we had a guy that sat right back there in that last desk, right there. Always sat there. I had him, I think, for 2 quarters, pre-calculus, algebra, and trig. He was actually a Jeff State student, but he was going to transfer to Auburn in forestry. He was a pre-forestry major. And evidently he just didn't, and he lived out this way, McCullough, I think, and drove to Jeff State. Well, yeah, I think he found, I don't know, for some reason he didn't like the math there, so he decided to try it here since he drove right by here every day. And sure enough, he was, okay student, and he seemed to like it and stuff. But when we got into the trig part, he wasn't a great writer. I wouldn't say he did well. I mean, he was fine. But he was a pre-forestry major, and he found out that when one thing foresters do, they go out to woods, and they look at the trees there. They estimate the density of them, but they have to also estimate the height, so they can estimate how many board feet of lumber they can get out of the tree. So they measure the diameters of the trees, or the radii of the tree, or the circumference of the trees. But they have to know the height. And surely they don't go and climb every tree driving a measuring tape to see how tall the tree is. That's not the best way to do it, okay? What they do, they use a sextant and measure the angle from the ground to the top of the tree, or the top of the usable part of the tree. And through that, they use trigonometry to estimate the height of the tree. He wrote his paper on the use of trigonometry in forestry. Fantastic. That's exactly the kind of thing I want people to get out of here. How can you use this stuff, applications? Any other such topic about which you have an interest and somehow trig is related to it. Now here's another thing I've added since then. Or it can be an internet application or demonstration which you find useful to the class. And I'm not embarrassed by this, okay? I encourage you to do this. In fact, like I said, I put sites on the whiteboard for you to use it. If you find that the book you're not understanding, and my description of what the book's talking about leaves a lot to be desired too, but you can find a website out there that you say, man, why didn't they say that? This makes perfect sense, Then you can write on that. What did you like? What did it do better than the book? And me. Don't feel like you're going to hurt my feelings. You're not, okay? the way that they described it here. That could be Khan Academy, Midnight Tutor, you know, Slater, all these things, you know, anything you can find, YouTube video, whatever. Or an application, you know, where do you use Trig? Hey, how about this? And think, wow, that's a neat use of it. So if you find an internet application or demonstration that you find useful to the class, you can write on that. What you like about it, what the book or I was deficient in, how you wish they had made it better, how it compared to other sites you tried to find and they didn't really work that helpful. You can write a 1 to 2 page paper easily on that. That would be a possibility too. And then when you submit that to me, and I find that's a good, usable, nice site, I'll put that on the next term. In fact, even on this term, on Blackboard, so everybody can access it. Okay, that's how I got some of those that are out there. Okay, so what I'd like you to do today, or possibly Thursday, is write your name on a piece of paper. Okay, that's pretty easy, right? And if you know your topic, or at least the topic you're interested in pursuing, write that down. That's a lot to write on a single piece of paper. I mean, not much to write on a single piece of paper. So this has nothing to do with your paper, but let me also add this. Since you're writing that on a piece of paper, if you want to, and you don't have to, not required, but if you want to give me your very best phone number, you can. Because sometimes, and I've spent last week and yesterday calling students when courses were going to be canceled and stuff like this, and way too often I had numbers that were no longer assigned, disconnected, blah, 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 you know, or just wrong numbers, okay? And so if you want to give me your very best phone number, now I'm going to make a guess right now, it's probably going to be a cell number, right? But if there's a chance you could either lose that cell, leave it at home, run over it with your car, something like that, and it's no longer functioning or you can't hear it, if you want to give me a good backup number, like Mama's landline or something like that, that's fine too. You don't have to, but you can if you want to. Or, and a lot of our students, maybe y'all don't, but a lot of our students also work, and maybe the times of days when someone might be calling would be when you were at work. If you can't receive a phone call at work and your boss doesn't mind, and you want to leave and you aren't allowed to use your cell phones at work, which happens in some locations, you can give me that number as well. You can give me 0 numbers, 1, 2, up to 3. I can't think of any reason you can need to give me more than 3 numbers, but if you feel like you do, you can. But the reason for that is the odds are I won't need it, but sometimes I get this panic phone call from someone in the admissions or something, and they can't, number's not working in the system. They say, this is so junior trick class, do you have a better number for me? I can say, and I'm not going to give it to another student, I'm not going to give it to anyone outside the college, it'll all be in-house. And if somebody does need to get in touch with you, fairly emergency-wise, that's why I ask for it. Because quite often, the phone numbers in the system. This happened either Thursday or Friday of last week when I was trying to call. I got this number, this guy says, I've had this number for 10 years, they don't live here. So I called the record and they looked it up, and sure enough, when someone had input the thing, they got two digits reversed. Just a simple error, but that's why we weren't able to get in touch with anybody. So that's why, if you want to give me that, you can, since you got most of the piece of paper with nothing on it. Now, if you do decide to change, like if you go, start looking for researching the topic, find, this isn't very interesting, or whoa, I don't know how we're going to get a page out of this, or whoa, this is way too much information, how do I narrow it down to a page, and you want to change or modify your topic, you can always do that, okay? But I just want you thinking about it this week, or no later than next week, okay? So get that to me either the day of Thursday or next week, okay? Now, you'll need to find at least one, but 2 or more are better, outside sources for your paper. And guess what, team? This is not an outside source, okay? Now, however, this can be your source of ideas. Like you can find DeMorgray here, see how to spell his name, find his first name, and if you choose to write on him, or any other thing. You might see something in here that piques your interest. Say, hey, that'd be worth looking into, So this is a great source of information, of ideas, but this can't be the source for your paper. So you've got to get something outside the book for that. That's the whole purpose of it. Get you out of the book into the real world, sort of, okay? Now, what will that source be? It could be a book, a journal, an article, newspaper, magazine, any such material that you can find in any library, okay? Or it can be, and here's, I should bold this, legitimate source on the internet. Shouldn't go into this as much detail, but if someone were to press me for the greatest invention that has occurred during my lifetime, it would have to be the internet. Because I was born in, I hate to say this, 51. I don't think it existed before then. So it's all been developed while I've been alive, and it is absolutely incredible. I mean, what you can do and find and stuff is just, every library in the world is right there at your fingertips almost, okay? Two problems with it, though. Maybe more than two, but two I'm going to talk about. First problem, at least half of what's on it is total garbage, okay? At least half, maybe way more than half. But, you know, lots of good stuff there and lots of trash there. Second problem, sometimes it's hard to distinguish which half, you know? Because something may sound really fantastic and may be just someone's idea and may not have any truth or validity in it. So, that's why I say legitimate source found on the internet. If you find something and you are thinking, is this really good? Ask me. We'll look at it and I'll say, hey, no, I think that sounds reasonable. Or see if you can find something else. I'm not sure, it may be true, but let's not try. Okay. So that's why I say legitimate source. Okay? Textbook is not an outside source, but it can be a source of ideas, but not of research. Okay, your paper must be at least one word processed page of text. Notice it's not typed and it's not handwritten, it's word processed. Okay? Now, what is a page of text? Well, let's say, and you use whatever format you want. I take it you probably had your English classes already, and they probably taught you MLA or something, and maybe those have some sort of header up here. You don't have to do this, but if you choose to, you can. Then several spaces, then you have a title, and then you triple space, and then you start typing right here. What's one page of text? It's going to go to the bottom of that page, and on the second piece of paper, start at the top and come down at least that far. That's a page of text. Almost always going to be two pieces of paper, one page of text. Okay, now, and only one. Now, I want you, this is single space, I want you to do double space. That's easier for me to read and make marks and stuff like that in, and also you don't have to write as much, okay? So double space, but I do want you to use standard format. I think this is 12 pitch or 12 point or whatever they call that, okay? I don't want 26, so 3 words fill a page, say I'm through. No, that won't work, okay? So sort of standard. I don't care what font you use as long as I can read it. I don't read hieroglyphics. I don't read Old English. I don't read Cyrillic or Greek or any of those others. Keep it something. This is Arial. That's fine. Times New Roman is just by everybody's default. That's fine. Courier, I don't care as long as it's a good readable font. I don't want lots of curly Q's. I can't make out. Is that an E or an L? What is that? You know. So keep it something nice and readable. Now, I say at least one page of text, which will be at least 2 pieces of paper, but try to hold it, though you don't have to no more than 2 pages of text. Now, if you are so excited about this subject and it's just piquing your interest like crazy and you can't help yourself, I don't count off if it's too long, okay? In fact, I'm encouraged by your interest in it, okay? But I don't want it to be a huge burden, okay? So shoot for 1 to 2 pages of text, okay? Now, most of the time I don't have this happen, but it has happened a couple of times, a few times in the past. I think the idea is someone thinks, well, if I can't dazzle them with brilliance, I will baffle them with quantity, okay? I'm looking for quality, not quantity. But I've had some people, I think they're trying to impress me, just write tons and tons but it's not really good quality. And let me just go on and tell you how I grade these things. When you turn it in to me, it's a 100-point paper. Okay? I can hear you now say, don't read it! I'm going to read it. Okay? And as I read it, if I find errors, you start losing points. So if you turn me in a big, long, lousy paper with lots of errors in it, guess what? You're losing more and more points. Not good. Now, if you turn in a quality paper, whether it's long or short, it's a quality paper. You're not going to lose many points at all, okay? So if it's good paper, make it as long as you want, but don't substitute quantity for quality. Go for quality. That's my whole point here. Okay. You can use any standard format you want. Like I said, most of you in English class have learned MLA, Modern Language Association. But sometimes in the sciences, a lot of the sciences like to use APA, which is American Psychological Association format, which is just a great format, and a lot of science and other people use it. When I was in grad school, they liked for us to write in CBE, Council of Biological Editors. We had to use that one. But then I'm a member of several professional organizations and those that publish, they each have their own format. So there's tons of formats out there. I don't care which one you use, but I want you to be consistent. If you start with one, stay with it, okay? Be consistent with your format throughout the paper. And here's the biggest, and I don't see this often, but I do see it occasionally, error that comes with that. Say somewhere up here in the first paragraph, they make a cite, say something and then they cite it. And they may say, open parentheses, last name of the author, comma, page number, something like that. And then somewhere down here, they make another citation, and they open parentheses and put the title of the article, comma, year of publication. And I go, what? Well, I think I know what happened. The source that they had up here used one format, and they just used the format that source used to cite them. And then this one down here may have used a different format, and they used that. Now, even within one format, if you're citing a book, that's going to be different from a journal article. Okay, I'll see that, but that's fine. Those should be different. But if you're citing the same type of thing, but use a different format in paragraph 1 and paragraph 4, then I'm going to say, wait a minute, this isn't consistent. So, and I think the reason is they just use the format of whichever article, and they may not be using the same format. So be consistent. You choose your format and stay with it. For instance, here, I chose to block my paragraphs, but some people may like indented paragraphs. I don't care, but if you start indenting, indent them all, or blocking, block them all. But don't start one way and then in the middle change. I've actually had a few papers come in that either this paragraph will be in a different font from that one for no apparent reason, okay? And in fact, I've seen this. In the middle of a paragraph, the font will change. And I'll say, what is going on here? And I've actually seen it in the middle of a sentence too. I don't know what's going on, but it's just sloppiness. It's not paying attention to what you're doing. So, be consistent. Spelling, grammar, sentence structure, all those things that would cost you in an English class will cost you here too, okay? I may not be as rough with it as English teachers are. I don't know what they do. But, every word processing package I know of has spell check and grammar check. Use them, okay? There's no excuse not to, okay? So use those. Also use good proofreading. Now, what do I mean by that? I had a senior English teacher in high school, really a good teacher. English was probably my best subject or favorite subject, but she was a great teacher. I remember she used this thing when she assigned a research paper to us. She said, get it written, and she said, set it down, and here's the term she used, let it rest. That sounded so strange. Pick it up a few days later, after a weekend, sometime like that, and then read it again, and her term was with fresh eyes. And then when you're reading along and say, what is that referring to? When you're typing it, or when you're writing, back then we were writing it, you know exactly what it means because you're thinking that way. But when you pick it up later and you say, what? Wait, what is that referring to? If it's not clear to you, it's not going to be clear to me probably, So let it rest, pick it up and read it with fresh eyes. Actually, over the weekend, we had something from our church. They requested us to do, write up something for a Lenten study. And so I thought of something, so I did it. But they wanted 300 words or less. I don't do things in few words, okay? So when I did it, and then I looked at the word count, and went, whoa! So I went back and, well, what can be taken out? Oh, that wasn't necessary. That wasn't necessary. And I'm not saying you do that for this, but as I read over, I said, well, that's not contributing anything to what I said. And in scientific writing, quite often you'll find that. So use good proofreading, okay? Now, content also matters. We're almost out of time. Here's what I mean by that. I've had some papers that say writing on somebody. Isaac Newton is everyone's favorite, but you don't have to write on Isaac Newton. And they mention him in the first sentence here, and sometimes put in parentheses the year of his birth and the year of his death. That's pretty common. But then somewhere over on page 2, when they're talking about he died, they had him dying in a different year, or born in a different year. And I said, look, it couldn't have been that long and delivered. No, be consistent. Make sure what you're typing. And I've also had something that I was pretty sure was 1497, but it had 1947, and I'm absolutely certain it wasn't 1947. They just transposed 2 digits. Be careful. Content matters as well. And I've had so many papers on the Pythagorean theorem, which is a great topic, but I've had some people give it to me incorrectly, or describe it incorrectly. So most of the things you're going to be writing on, I'm going to have enough cursory knowledge of to know whether it's right or not. So content also matters. Do that. Now, let me just get this in real quickly. The paper is due by the last day of class before final exams. Remember the last week of class is that last week, full week in April, and final exams are then the week of May. Okay, you didn't say that, but I think that's first week of May. Maybe the last day of April, sometime in there. But anyway, that last day of class, that's when your paper's due. But please don't wait till then to do it. That's why I want you to think of a topic now. Start thinking on it, researching it, thinking about it. Because guess what? You'll never have more time to work on it than you do right now. This coming weekend, tomorrow, because later in the term, everything piles up, okay? So get started early, get it done early. That allows you the opportunity to set it aside, let it rest. So please do that. Get started on it sooner, okay? You'll lose points if it's submitted after that last day of class. That's not the last day of finals week, it's the last day of class, okay? But losing points, that's the stick. Here's the carrot. If you submit your paper in the month of January, you get 3 bonus points. Whatever your score was, I just add 3 points to it. That could be a good part of half a letter grade, okay? If you turn it in February, you get 2 bonus points. In March, you get 1 bonus point. If it's April, you just get your score. If it's May, you start losing points, okay? So please go with the carrots, okay? And here's one thing I require that most people don't. When you turn in your paper, you've gotten at least one outside source. Print me a single page from one of those sources. You may have 3 or 4 sources. Pick a source and print me 1 page. If it's something out of the library, carry it over to the copy that page from the book, the magazine, the journal, or whatever. If it's something you got off the internet, print me a single page from that and turn that in as well. Any questions? Okay. That'll be here on YouTube when that gets posted, and I'll give you the link for it. It'll also be on Blackboard as soon as I can get it. So get started early, get me those papers. And let me just say this. Like I said, this is probably my 21st year of teaching here. I didn't always do papers, but I'd say within the first 5 years of teaching here, I started assigning papers. Taught here every term. Back then we were on quarters, that was 4 terms a year. Now we're on semesters 3 terms a year. I've had anywhere from 5 to 8 classes in a given term. So that's been a lot of papers I've seen. Most classes are bigger than this. My earlier class was 29, 31, something like that, students. So on average 15 to 20, okay? So I've seen a lot of papers. In general, this is a generalization, not always true. The best papers usually come in early, and those that come in late are most likely to be the poorest papers because they just threw it together at the end. They didn't have time. They didn't check it yet. Now, I've had dogs at the beginning. I've had great papers at the end, but the general trend is downhill. So start early. Okay, good deal. Any questions? All right, next time we'll start with safety. No, we'll start with locator card. So remind me of this. Locator card first, and then we'll do safety. All right, good deal. Thanks.
Have a good day.
All right, you too. Didn't get any trig done today, sorry. Looks like it's going to be a good class. Bye-bye.